Good evening, I'm Anthony from the Chandelier, Flanders Valley, and tonight we have the Morris County Republican Freeholders debate. We're honored to host it. Please consider us for all your event needs. Flanders Valley, 973-584-6620.
I'm getting foot surgery this month, so
It's hard.
Thank them for all their help. I'd like to, at this time, introduce the presidents of the clubs. We have Phyllis Fleur, president of Chester's Mendham. Bill Wagamuth of Washington Township. Dave Kapira of Mount Olive Township. Also would like to acknowledge Ed McCarthy, Joe Weemet, who also helped with the debate team that are here. A few people I'd like to introduce. Mayor Ron Greenbaum is here from Mount Olive. We have Senator Bucco, Assemblyman Bucco, Morris County Committeewoman Christina Ramirez, Executive Director of the MCRC Barbara Dawson. And we have a couple of candidates, Rick Van Glam from the 11th District Congress, and Chris Hurd from the 7th District. I'd like to introduce John Setti to come up and say a few words, the Republican Committee Chair.
Thank you. It's a wonderful turnout here tonight. This is great. It's democracy in action. I just want to say, hi Ron, hi Janet. I just want to say a couple of weeks ago we had a little breakfast where we tried to get everybody on board as far as running a civil campaign and everything. Okay, and there's been some problems during this campaign on the freeholder level. And my only thing I want to say to the people involved, we have 7 great candidates. They're all good Republicans. We have 2 great candidates for sheriff. Okay, Morris County is the great county because we are Republicans and we do the right thing for the citizens. I've been getting calls from both sides about this person did that, that person did that. I've been doing this for 34 years, since 1982, and I've never seen anything like it. My only suggestion is, guys, let's tone it down a little. Let's talk about the issues. Let's keep to the issues, and let's just do the right thing for the citizens of Morris County. If we do that, we'll do the right thing for the Republican Party. And I hope everybody enjoys himself tonight. I hope we have a great debate with great questions. And again, thank you all for coming in.
And again, my name is Joe Nicastro. I'm the council president. My council vice president, Alex Roman, is here. And on behalf of us and the mayor, we welcome you to Mount Olive. That's all I have. We'll keep it short and sweet. I'm going to introduce former Assemblyman Guy Gregg, who will take over the reins from here and move on from
Give a hand for Guy. Well, thank you very much, and it's great to be here to see such a great crowd. And I'm looking forward to a spirited and very respectful debate. Okay, we've got a little format differently than the first debate. The format's the same, but I'm going to go over it now while the candidates are standing behind us. We have 7 candidates this evening. They will be drawing out of this hat to determine where they sit. So the rules of the debate is the same for the sheriffs. If you were here, each candidate will get 90 seconds for an opening remarks and 90 seconds for closing remarks. Questions will begin with the number 1 individual, which is the seat all the way to your immediate right. All candidates will answer the same question. They will have 60 seconds to answer that question. After all candidates have responded to the question, they will have 30 seconds for rebuttal, and I emphasize this to the candidates behind me, a rebuttal if you need it. but please feel free to respond at will. So you have 30 seconds for your rebuttal, and then ultimately you will have 90 seconds for your closing remarks. We will go 1 through 7, and depending on how many questions, we will go back. Phyllis, I believe, has the basket.
Yes, we all hold.
Well, you may go to your seats, and I will then...
Do you want left to right?
All the way down is 1, this is 7.
Okay, left is 7.
Little drama here.
So you don't get one.
Does everybody have a water glass?
No.
Someone needs a water glass?
Yes, buddy.
Everybody. Phyllis or someone in power, could we get 7 water glasses for the table, please? Or 7 glasses.
That's an extra one too. Thank you. Appreciate it.
God bless you.
All of my paperwork is predicated on where they're sitting too, so I have to get organized. Does everyone at the dais understand the format? Let me begin by reminding everybody that it is a large group of people in front of us. This is Western Morris. We have great respect, and we'll hope that all of you will answer quickly, accurately, to the point, and giving respect to your colleagues. I know you will, but it's a comment I have to make. Let's go over the timekeeper. It is right over here, Mark Armstrong. I didn't go over the time. Codes will be, you will get 2 warnings for your question, 1 warning on your rebuttal. The warning is yellow, and it is 15 seconds. And red is stop. So you will get a yellow on your opening statement, closing statement, and questions. You will not get a yellow, you will only get a red on your rebuttal, which is 30 seconds. So let's begin. Mr. Cabana, you are first up and your opening statement.
All right, thank you, and good evening, everyone. My name is Doug Cabana. I am from Boonton Township, and it's my pleasure to serve on the Morris County Board of Chosen Freeholders. In fact, I have the distinct honor of being the senior serving member. When I joined the board in 1997 through a special convention, I came upon a board that did what was right for the people of Morris County. We still do that. We budget fiscally conservatively, and we provide the necessary services for this county. That's how it's always been and how it will be if you continue with Cabana, DeFillippo, and Mastrangelo. Morris County is unique in that we are the best run county in the state of New Jersey, and it's well known. In fact, we're one of the top 37 best managed counties in the state. And we take pride in the services we provide to the people of Morris County. We take pride in the fact that we can maintain the affordability of Morris County, and we take pride in the quality of life that is here in Morris County and why so many people come here to Morris and more want to come. We believe that the government that we have here can be maintained and we can continue the services we provided. Shared service has been a telstar of the last several years, which allows us to provide the services at a more effective cost. And with that, we can continue, we work with our towns, we work with the county, and we can continue to do so. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Kathy DeFillippo. I'm the Freeholder Director. Prior to that, I served for 8 years in Roxbury Township as a councilwoman, past mayor or deputy mayor. Half of those years I was one of either deputy mayor or mayor. And this is my first, I'm finishing my first term on the Freeholder Board. I believe that Morris County is a great place to live, work, raise a family, and certainly to come here and play. I love Morris County, and I want to continue to keep Morris County to be the county that I came to know over 20 years ago. As my running mate has said, we're fiscally conservative, we're common sense when it comes to running the budget. We look at the facts, we ask a lot of questions, and we run the budget based on what needs to get accomplished. I do not want to see services canceled or cut back. I want to continue to see open space. I want to continue to fund what we do here in Morris County. I'm very proud of it, and I want to continue to keep it that way. Thank you.
Mr. Krickus.
Hi, I'm John Krickus, and a little bit of background. I was born and raised in Madison, went to Drew and Lehigh. I served 6 years in the Marine Corps Reserves at Picatinny Arsenal. Married my wife Carolyn, who some of you got to meet earlier. She's a member of the Long Valley First Aid Squad. She's an officer, so she had to go to a squad meeting. And we have 2 daughters, Kelly and Casey. I served as mayor and committeeman of Washington Township, 3 years as mayor, 12 years in Washington Township Committee. I was on the Freeholder Board for 3 years. I really wasn't expecting to run this year. I lost by a very narrow margin last year, but I felt compelled to run to give you a fiscally conservative choice in this election. 3 key issues. First, I was very proud we had no tax increase in the first 3 years. Unfortunately, this year, we have a 3.5%, $7.5 million tax increase. When I was in the Budget Committee, we had no increase in 2 years, no increase in spending. The past 2 years, $11 to $12 million increase each year. And what's become very apparent in this campaign is there's a big gap on what's called the apprenticeship resolution. The incumbents, and actually the challengers, all met with the leadership of the Construction Laborers Union, the carpenters. The incumbents received the endorsement of Local 254. We all know that a lot of money came into Morris County last year, and more money is coming in this year. What the apprentice resolution does is restricts competition for contracts. You essentially have to have labor union contract. Governor Christie vetoed this legislation, saying that it would drive small businesses out and raise costs. And indeed, the county staff analyzed this and showed it would cost $1.5 million extra. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm running to give you a choice. No tax increases, streamlining county government, and we'll have competitive bidding. Thank you.
Good evening. I want to thank you all for your time coming out here. I know your time is very important. I also want to thank Rob Greenbaum, the mayor of Mount Olive, as well as the council and former mayor, and also former freeholder David Scripicchio. It's a beautiful part of the county. They've done a great job maintaining it. A little bit about myself. My name is Peter King. I do live in Denville, New Jersey. I have 2 daughters. One is 14, and the other is 8 years old. I'm married to my wife, Katerina, and currently I have my own business. I'm an attorney. I went to LaSalle University. I'm a graduate. I was in the ROTC. I was commissioned as second lieutenant when I graduated and went into active duty. I was sent to the first Gulf War. I earned a Bronze Star and various other medals during my military career. I also was in the reserves in various different reserve units in New Jersey. I went to law school. Upon graduation, I worked with Senator John Dorsey. Now I have my own practice. I primarily practice municipal law. I also have a diplomat in municipal law and also certified by the New Jersey Supreme Court as a municipal attorney. I do have a number of municipalities, not municipalities, but governmental entities that I represent. In regard to a vision for the future, our team is looking to streamline government, make government more as a business, not as a non-business. Thank you very much.
Mr. Mastrangelo.
Thank you. Tom Mastrangelo, Morris County Freeholder. I hail from Montville, New Jersey. I live there with my beautiful wife, Debbie. I have three great kids. Christopher, who's here tonight, my daughter, who's studying for her finals at Brooklyn Law, my son about to graduate Rutgers next week, thank God. So, and that's behind us. I ran for Freeholder. I'm in the IT consulting business. I'm a small business person, like many of you here. I ran for Freeholder back in 2010 on several things, to control and reduce taxes, to control spending, to create transparency. And since 2010, I've been able to, along with my running mates, been able to deliver those areas of government for the betterment of Morris County. What we've also done over the last 3 years, as you've heard from my colleagues, is we've delivered 3 budgets at 0%. We reduced our debt by $30 million. We're on a $60 million debt reduction plan, and we will accomplish that by 2018. While we've been doing that, we've doubled the amount of road projects in this county. So anywhere you drive around Morris County, you'll see different road projects, and you've all probably seen it, you all probably experienced it, and we're putting money back into our infrastructure, both on the roads, both into our buildings, wherever you go in Morris County. We're rated as the top county in this state. We're rated as the top 35 in this country, and I look forward to your vote on June 7th again. Thank you.
Mr. Hirniak.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. My name is Roman Hirniak, and along with Louis Valori and Peter King, I am running for Morris County Freeholder. I'm the mayor of Randolph Township. Prior to receiving the honor of holding that office, I was the deputy mayor and also a council member. I represent Randolph's 10th voting district on the Morris County Republican Committee. And when our children were younger and we lived in Millington, I was an elected member of the Long Hill Township Board of Education. This is a Republican debate, and by virtue of that characteristic, you will hear a similar message from each of the 7 of us. But I asked you to not focus on what makes us similar, but what makes us different. And what makes the 3 of us different, meaning myself and my running mates, is that we have modeled our campaign on the 3 things that both elected officials and citizens here in the county have told us they want returned to the county government. They want professional stewardship. They want fiscal conservatancy, but ladies and gentlemen, it needs to be reasonable. And they want consensus building. Because after all, it's easy to run together, but the rubber meets the road when you take your seat on January 1st and you're expected to work together. I have 3 wonderful children. I'm very proud of them. My son Alex is studying biomedical engineering at Rutgers. I have 2 daughters at the high school. They are all the apple of my eye. I look forward to answering questions this evening. Thank you for the opportunity to join you tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Hirniak. Mr. Valori.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lou Valori, and I'm getting the opportunity to run for Freeholder with my running mates, Mayor Roman Hirniak and Peter King. About myself, I'm married for the past 30 years to my wife, Yvette. I have a 30-year-old daughter who is a captain in the United States Air Force. My second daughter, Jordan Valori, will be a second lieutenant in the United States Army this June in the nursing corps. And I have a 15-year-old daughter, Cameron Valori, who attends Morris Catholic High School. She keeps me very busy. Concerning my professional background, I'm currently the council president in Parsippany. Parsippany, we run a $60 million budget. I've been on the council for the past 3 years. I'm just the new council president, sworn in January. Prior to being on the council, I was a member of the Board of Education, where we dealt with a $140 million budget, 7,500 students, and 2,500 employees. Very large budget, a lot of great experience. I'm presently also assigned to the Morris County Park Commissions, and I was also a legislative aide to Assemblyman Alex DeCruz for about 6 years. In regards to my professional background, I'm a retired detective sergeant with the Parsippany Troy Hills Police Department. I retired in 2012. I have a very diverse background in law enforcement. With that, I did 28 years in the United States Army Reserve. I retired as a lieutenant colonel in 2011, and during my time as mobilized, we were involved with training the units going to Iraq and Afghanistan. I believe my background, along with my running mates, are very diversified, and I believe that will be an asset for Morris County. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Valori. Our first question, and it goes to you, Mr. Cabana, or you start, but not to you. Keeping in mind all of you will answer the same question. BASF has had a large presence in Morris County. They've had a large presence in Mount Olive, Rockaway Township, and it appears the companies like BASF tend to follow their tax benefits or their incentives. It's a multi-question here. Number one, what is your expectation of BASF and what will occur when their deal ends in Florham Park? But more importantly, what can Morris County do and the freeholders do to start filling the millions of square feet of office space we have and stop playing checkers with businesses between Morris County and or other cities in the state?
Guy, if I could just clarify for 1 second here, they have 60 seconds to answer and 30 seconds for rebuttal, correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
Feel free to interrupt.
Especially, no kind of problem with that.
Especially when I'm making a mistake.
All right,
I'm sorry for the interruption.
Not a problem. This is one of the issues that this board has been working on. We have a tremendous amount of empty office buildings in Morris County, and all over the state, quite frankly. There's a change. We have been working with the Chamber of Commerce, the Economic Development Committee, and we're looking to expand our role because we believe, because zoning is what's in place in municipalities that allows these buildings to be there. There's too much office space for demand at this point. Much of our office buildings have become antiquated, and there's just a change in demographics. People are moving towards the cities more, want to be closer to, to mass transit in urban areas, and they don't want to be out here. And that is one of our problems, especially with the BASF in Mount Olive. All this was built in the trade zone, and then they hot up and moved over to Florham Park. Now, fortunately for Morris County, it's still here, but there's a huge building that is continually draining the... okay. Well, I guess I got to add 60 seconds is not a long time for a complex answer.
You'll get a chance in your rebuttal. Ms. DeFillippo.
Actually, I'll expand on that. The Freeholder Board is working aggressively with the Chamber of Commerce and particularly with the Economic Development Committee, EDC. We are providing tools, and in this budget this year, there are tools to help identify and work with businesses and to gather information, to keep businesses in Morris County and to bring businesses to Morris County. Is very important with us. We're also introducing, and have been doing this for a number of years, we are bringing elected officials, planners, administrators to the table to meet with the business community. We are bringing information about what the business demands, such as people want to live and work. The new generation that is working, the younger folks, want to live and work in the same neighborhood. They don't want to commute for an hour and a half like many of us have done. So we're learning about what the changes are that are taking place, and we are addressing that at a county level.
Thank you. Mr. Krickus.
I believe in free markets, so I think there are 3 areas that the Freeholder Board can work on to attract business. I've worked in private industry my entire life. First area is keeping taxes low, not increasing them each year. If we do that, I worked in finance departments, it's great when you see a favorable variance. Your taxes didn't go up when you expected them to. Second, maintain our infrastructure. That's why I did support the doubling of county roads and maintaining bridges. And actually, paving Dave Scapicchio was the head of the capital budget committee that really led that program. Third is skills. I'm very proud of my daughters. One is going into healthcare, the other is studying engineering. When I was a freeholder, I worked over a weekend in April before we passed the budget last year, found $400,000 of savings so we can provide the County College of Morris an increase in aid. They have a great mechanical engineering program that they're working on with VoTech. When you have low taxes, good infrastructure, and skills for the workforce, that is what will attract companies to Morris County.
Thank you.
Thank you. BASF left Parsippany to move to Mount Olive. Now they've left Mount Olive and they are in Fawn Park. In Parsippany, the building they were in, they raised, and a new building was built. A rateable came back. In Mount Olive, I understand that the governing body is trying to bring in an entity there. They've been working very hard, but they have not had the support. One of our platforms is economic development. The way that you do that is that you use all facets of government. You work with the local, you work with the county and the state, and you try to fast track projects. But first you have to have a master plan or a list of all these vacant properties that you can market. And when we are elected, we will do that. We will have that list of properties, and we will reach out to those entities, those companies, those municipalities, and help develop those sites. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mastrangelo.
Okay, thank you. You've got to work with all levels of government. The Lieutenant Governor, in working with her in the Business Action Center, we've been very successful in bringing some fine companies into Morris County and retaining some fine companies such as BASF, Bayer, MetLife, Ferris Pharmaceuticals, UPS in Parsippany. But look, we do have a large vacancy rate. Parsippany has probably one of the largest vacancy rates. Okay, and we've got to work hard with that local government, with the state government, to ensure, and working with our legislators on the corporate business tax, to see how we can drive that down as well, so we make sure we don't only keep them here in Morris County, we can keep them here in the state of New Jersey. We've got one of the things I am working on with Paul Boudreau is a research triangle center similar to, and other people from that chamber, similar to what's in North Carolina. We've got a lot of space available. We need to bring education, Rutgers, into the process to work with corporate America all in one central place.
Thank you, Mr. Angelo.
As an attorney that practices in the financial sector, one of the things I struggle with is the lack of investment that successive freeholder boards in this county have had in economic development. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a fraction of 1% that has been invested towards that principle. What is it that economic development does? Well, among other things, it drives commercial tenants to come into our county, creates a higher commercial rateable base, which reduces the tax burden on our citizens. What it also does, and this was raised when we were in Morris Plains last week, it raises property values, which has a direct, proportionate, positive impact on foreclosure rates. The county needs to invest in economic development. It needs to set an example. It needs to open up its arms. That's how businesses will come here. They'll know, because they'll know that there is a fertile ground here within which they can grow, bring their employees here, and their services for our benefit. Thank you.
Mr. Valori.
Yes, I will tell you that Parsippany has really made leaps and bounds in regards to economic development. Being as council president on the council for the past 3 years, I have worked with the mayor and my council members along with the Chamber of Commerce and the Economic Committee in regards to bringing in development. And Parsippany is truly making leaps and bounds. We brought in UPS on their pilot program into our town. We have GF as their corporate headquarters in our town now. We have Whole Foods coming into our town. We have CVS. There has been major improvements. And why that's all happening is because you have to be involved as an elected official as to what's going on. So needless to say, in regards to economic development, in regards to BAS, you have to get involved with those elected officials and have an interest on being innovative to bring that development into that town. And a lot has to do with infrastructure and being involved with them to see what's needed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Valori. We're going to go in order on rebuttals. Oh, okay. So, Mr. Cabana, you're up. Rebuttal.
For what? That question?
For that question.
No, I'm no rebuttal.
Rebuttal or comment?
Morris County does have a lot of benefits. We do have a skilled workforce. We have a diverse housing market, and we have great infrastructure. We have roads, we have trains. We meet with the businesses, and we know that those are the things that they like about Morris County. What they're frustrated by is zoning issues, planning boards. An example of one business, and more than one business, who has gone from one town to another to stay in Morris County because they know the value of what we have here in Morris County, but they are frustrated by the zoning and the planning board issues. We're also looking at transportation issues. And finally,
Finish your sentence.
State incentives favor the big cities and not out here in Morris County.
Thank you.
So what you're hearing from the other candidates is they all have plans and they're going to come up with, we're going to work together with these government levels. How about we just have a free market? We create the conditions that are favorable for all businesses, small, medium, and large, by keeping taxes low, by maintaining our infrastructure, by developing the skills. And let's let the market take care of creating jobs and not thinking that we're going to be able to intervene and magically wave a wand and create economic development. Let's create the conditions so that businesses of all sizes can grow.
Mr. Keeper.
You have to market Morris County. Everyone doesn't know how great a place this is, but we as elected officials have that obligation to let them know. As the attorney for the zoning board in Parsippany, we have taken a it was going to be an office building, and we converted that into luxury apartments. Or we didn't. A contractor came in and we worked with him. We worked with the contractor, we worked with the county, and we worked with the town, the mayor. The mayor was great, and it is done. It's a rateable for both the county and Parsippany.
Mr. Mastrangelo.
Thank you. I agree with my challenger, property taxes. Randolph has the second highest tax rate in the county. They have the lowest property value appreciation rate in the county per the Daily Record, per the New Jersey Hills, and per the Randolph Reporter. So taxes do need to come down, and we've been able to do that. We've kept our taxes down for 3 years. We've worked with the mayors. I implemented, when I was director, a commission of mayors and elected officials with the economic development, with the chamber, and we've been working on economic development, doing it very well.
Thank you, Mr. Mastrangelo. Mr. Hirniak.
I have lost track of how many times I've heard this mantra about Randolph's taxes. I have lost track also of the number of phone calls I've received from residents in Randolph who have said, what is he talking about? Ladies and gentlemen, we have the 6th lowest municipal tax rate in this county. The 6th lowest. Last I checked, we had the 7th lowest. That was 2 years ago. We're going in the right direction. So much so that when Moody's came to take a look at our finances in August of 2015, they said, expressing confidence in the township's financial outlook, conservative fiscal management, strong financial policies and practices, ample reserve levels, low direct debt burden. That's the truth.
Thank you, Mr. Hirniak.
What I find interesting here is, I will tell you that I'm an individual that has experience working with my mayor and my council and with the Chamber of Commerce, along with the Economic Committee, to bring in businesses to our town. And to make a correction, Parsippany doesn't have the highest vacancies, trust me. Parsippany is bringing in businesses left and right into the town. And I believe that you need individuals on that freeholder board that have experience, that will make an effort to try to draw in businesses to Morris County to keep the tax base low. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Valori. I'm sorry, Mr. Mastrangelo, we only have one opportunity for rebuttals. I might remind everyone, attempt to stay within the confines. I don't want to interrupt anyone. I want you to finish your thought, but do it quickly. Thank you. So, moving on. Question number 2. Since we're talking about economic development, let's go to taxes. There is, shall we say, a discussion in the county on whether or not Morris County can be a zero tax increase county. It's a topic that's gotten a title of its own. There are some who believe a zero tax rate is possible to achieve for the county and its taxpayers. And there are others who say that it cannot be achieved long-term without sacrificing services that the citizens actually want. Where do you stand on this, on the zero tax increase?
I believe every budget should start at a 0% and evaluate every line item that is presented to us. This year, we could not meet a 0% tax increase. We had an insurance increase of over $5 million. I apologize, I don't have the exact number in front of me. But we had a significant increase in our insurance. Our overall budget only went up between $800,000 and $900,000. So I believe every budget should start at 0. I do not believe it's sustainable to continue to have zeros year after year after year, like my opponent would like to see.
Thank you. Mr. Krickus.
So as you can see, I'm the only candidate who believes we can have a 0. And the reason that is before I left the board, I presented $28 million in budget savings. So there's definitely room. So if you think that there is no room to cut in government, that government's totally efficient and streamlined, you have 6 other choices. If you believe we can continue to find savings in government, then, and I presented a plan for $28 million of those savings, then you have a choice in this election, a conservative choice. And let's think about it. When I see houses for sale and people moving out, it's usually somebody who, child has graduated high school or college, and they've decided not to pay the high property taxes in Morris County. They've decided to move out. That's why I think we have to work each year to have a 0. And because I put that plan forward of $28 million savings, while providing all the services, as I talked earlier, we're able to increase services at the County College of Morris, that we can continue to deliver a 0 tax increase to Morris County residents. Thank you.
You can have a 0%. You have to do a number of things. One, you have to keep your budget under control. You can't raise the budget. With regard to the insurance, there's a comptroller's report, Boxer did it in 2012, said that you should go away from the broker style of insurance and you should go to the state's plan. Mount Olive did it in 2010, I believe, and they had success with it. They saved money. That would have saved probably about $4 million in this year's budget if they had gone to the state plan. With regard to the jail, you heard the sheriffs talk about that. We bring in, we have to run it like a business. We have to fill our facilities. Our nursing home, Morrisview, needs to be filled. It can be filled not with people in the nursing home, but people who come in for senior daycare. You could go to outside companies and lease those spaces. This Freeholder board has done nothing. They've known about the high costs that were going to be incurred in Medicaid, Medicare. They did nothing about it. They knew about the high costs of insurance, and they have done nothing about it. Now we are in a quagmire.
Mr. Mastrangelo?
Okay, taxes is the issue, okay, and we've got to fight to keep the taxes down. In regards to Morrisview, I've got to tell you, it's a 5-star nursing home. The residents are doing very well. Okay, and John Bonani will tell you that on the tour in his office or whichever way you go. Okay, but in regards to tax rates, and I've got to address this with Mr. Hirniak. Okay, if you go to the state website, the general tax rates by county and municipality, you look down the list, and I've got it right here, from 2013, 2014, 2015. Okay. Randolph does have the second highest general tax rate. And if you read the description of the general tax rate, and I'll tell you how your taxes are applied. The general tax rate is a multiplier for the use in determining the amount of tax levied upon each property. It's expressed as the $1 per 100 of taxable assessed value. So my point is, we've got to keep taxes under control. We've got to still deliver our services, and we've got to deliver whether it's the nursing home, whether it's our roads, our bridges, our law and public safety.
Thank you, Mr. Mastrangelo. Mr. Hirniak.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have a chart, actually 2 charts prepared by the CFO from Wharton that all 39 chief financial officers in the municipalities here in the county rely on. And that chart, which I have with me, and you're free to see it after the debate, shows that we have the 6th lowest tax rate on a municipal basis per person. It's as simple as that. Well, let's talk about budgeting, because that's actually what the question was about. It's very easy, ladies and gentlemen, to budget tactically, to budget 12 months out. But nobody does that at home, nobody does that in their businesses, and we certainly don't do that in Randolph. We budget strategically. What does that mean? That means you look 60 months out. You look 5 years out to avoid the roller coaster of having zeros going to a cap-busting 3.5%. Ratings agencies, voters, citizens want consistency. There is the ability to have that, but you have to budget at the county level the same way the rest of the world budgets. It's not impossible. It does happen. Unfortunately, it historically hasn't happened. We need to bring that back to Morristown.
Thank you, Mr. Hirniak. Mr. Valori.
In a real world, everyone would like to have a zero, and I agree with that. But the reality was, you have the current Freeholder board that went outside its cap. So they went to 3.5%, which the cap is 2%. So to me, that's fiscal responsibility, because they went to their cap bank. And when it comes down to the excuse of, insurance costs and bail reform, these are all the things that you should be working with your business administrator well in advance, knowing what's going to be coming your way. Just not with a magic wand did there was an increase in insurance overnight or this bail reform. This was all planning that should have been done well in advance. And in regards to the nursing home, we're hearing the issues there, right? It's a 5-star nursing home, but there's a lot of things that should have been done to bring in more revenue for that nursing home, along with the other issues with the county jail. You have empty beds. You could be bringing in revenue. So in regards to saying, we want to keep it at a zero, I agree, but there was really fiscal responsibility in planning this budget, so you have to live with it.
Thank you, Mr. Valori. Mr. DeFillippo, you begin the rebuttal session. No, it doesn't go back to beginning, it goes back to 2.
No, Doug didn't answer yet.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right. See, I told you to correct me when I make a note. Doug, you didn't.
Well, I was waiting for you to say, Mr. Cabana, and I would start, which I will now. Since 2005, Morris County has operated on a zero-based budgeting program. We also have a budget subcommittee that was started by Freeholder Frank Drutzer many years ago. So we didn't begin the process of the budget, formulating the budget a few months out. The budget committee meets throughout the year to look at trends and look at other issues facing the budget so we can properly plan on our way out. We've done that. It's pretty easy to sit on the side, looking in, and start taking cheap shots at what's done or not being done. Morris View, for example, is a very complex issue. This has been something, if it could have been solved, it would have been solved. We've done a lot of issues, reports, studies. We'll come to grips with that at some point, but we need public input. It's not the 7 freeholders and the county administrator, it's all of you. And there's other issues that need to be addressed in the same manner. Insurance, that just happened. We got a bill. What are we going to do? The only result would have been to start laying off people to reduce that number.
Thank you, Mr. Cabana. Now, Ms. Stevens, you're up.
I completely agree that our budget, that we should be looking strategically a number of years out. When I came on this Freeholder board 2 years ago, I asked those questions. I wasn't getting the answers from the budget committee as to where we were going in the future with 0% tax increases. As a result of that, after my first year, I became the budget director last year. Now, granted, half the year was done by the previous budget, and last year I had about 3 months before we had to present it. But I do believe that this budget should be planned strategically, and I was not getting those answers, and we changed how the budget committee was going to work.
Mr. Krickus.
So already in the budget for the next 2 years is $5 million in savings from the debt paydown, which I agree with. Who do you want sitting on the Freeholder board when those $5 million of savings are made available? People who will spend them, or people who will apply to a zero? I'd also mention I see Mayor Rorick here, and I was Mayor of Washington Township also. Washington Township, in the Rutgers study recently released, has the lowest spending per capita in Morris County. And actually, little known fact, copper wire was invented in Washington Township. A penny fell on the floor of the municipal building, and all the employees grabbed it, and there was copper wire. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Krickus. Mr. King.
Yes, has everyone heard of Obamacare? Yeah, we've heard about that for, what, 5 years now? That has affected Morris County, and you're seeing the effects of it. You're seeing it in the nursing home because those monies have been cut. You're seeing it in healthcare. So this board didn't do anything for 5 years to prepare for that. They could go to the state plan and save money today. Instead, they have a broker. And in fact, in the papers, there was a broker that had served Morris County that got in trouble and overbilled the county for, I think, $200 and some odd thousand. We do not want that to happen again. We could easily go to the state and save money.
Mr. Mastrangelo.
Okay. In regards to that broker, I can tell you, I was one of the freeholders in an insurance subcommittee meeting who wanted to make sure that broker was gone, and so did the board, and we got rid of that broker. Okay, and then we brought another broker in, and then we brought another broker in. On the $7.8 million increase in our health care, that is because of Obamacare. Okay, and it's starting to hit everybody. And actually, Freeholder Krickus voted for that increase. I was one of the freeholders who did it because I wanted to move to self-insurance quicker than a number of people on the board.
With respect, no rebuttal. Simply wanted to thank Kathy for her remarks.
Mr. Valori.
My rebuttal will be is when you're in a leadership position or you're elected, you have to do your job, you have to be responsible, and you have to work with your other freeholder members as adults. You have to work with your business administrator, and like anything else, you have to have a vision. As they say in the military, there's tasks, conditions, and standards. And this is the way that we're going to get it done. But you need leadership, no excuses in order to get it done. And going outside your 2% cap, again, it's fiscal responsibility. And listen, we're not just talking about one issue here of going outside the cap. We're talking about $30 million that the taxpayers are paying back on a solar scam. But we'll talk about that later.
Thank you, Mr. Valori. Last but not least, Mr. Cabana.
Thank you, Mr. Gregg. You know, you talk about looking down the road and future planning. Right now, we are looking at self-insurance for the county. It's not something that can be done overnight. It needs to be something that's planned out several years. We've been working on it for almost 2 years before we can even implement this. And reserves need to be built, and brokers need to be secured. There's a lot behind this, and that's what we're looking at now. Not every one of these issues that are being thrown out here tonight are simple solutions. There's long-term solutions and things that we're long-term planning, and we are working on them and addressing them.
Thank you. Question number 3 to Mr. Krickus. Well, a number of you brought up the county nursing home, Morrisview. I think we certainly deserve a question on that. It is clear that over a number of years that the nursing home has been a liability to the taxpayers of New Jersey. I think someone also mentioned Obamacare, which is one of the driving forces long-term that nursing home will have more and more liabilities every year, to the point where the Commissioner of Human Services notified virtually all the counties that their best solution under the present environment would be to divest from their nursing homes. Many counties have done that, including large counties like ourselves, Burlington, Mercer, Camden, our neighbors Sussex. The question is, as we wait and watch our asset devalue, when will we make a decision and sell the nursing home? And if we're not going to, why?
So on Morrisview, I would have 2 solid principles. Number 1 is there's always going to be a need for indigent residents of Morris County to be able to have a facility to go to. So we need to ensure, however Morrisview moves forward, that that need is met. Second is, and I supported this before I left the board has instructed the administration to examine 3 options. And I think we need to see, and one of them being a sale, one of them being to try and continue the operation, which really, everything outside of nursing has been outsourced, but to try and find some savings. And the third would be where the county has some control over the facility. In many of these sales, there's terms written into the sales, but this would be where the county still owns it, has a lease, but someone else operates the nursing home, so the county is not absorbing the losses. So I would recommend we, again, make sure that there's always going to be a guarantee that residents, Morris County residents, can go to Morrisview, but that we see what the county administration recommends among those three choices. Thank you.
Mr. King.
Yes, thank you.
You don't have to wait for me if I
I
can't see that.
I just want, well, we have a presidential election coming up, and I think we all know who we want to win. If that person does win, if Donald Trump is the nominee and he wins, or I think any Republican wins, you're going to see Obamacare possibly gone. If it goes, then you'll have something else, so maybe we will be out of this issue or problem and you'll see funding again. But you don't know that. What I do know is I took a tour in the nursing home, and there are 5 wings that I saw that were not being utilized for nursing home facilities. Two of the 5, one was used for daycare, the other was used for something known as a senior daycare. And the model now is to go to senior daycares. What it does is it gives seniors who are at home about 4 to 5 hours of medical assistance, of interaction with persons. In Parsippany, we've already cited 3 of those facilities, and that is the future. There's no reason why this freeholder board or a future freeholder board cannot contract with an outside entity to bring in a rateable to help sustain that facility. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mastrangelo.
Yes, this freeholder board and past freeholder boards over the last 6 years, or 5 years really, have looked at different ways and different models with Morrisview. Atlantic Health Systems was interested at one point. Several other organizations were interested at one point. We've had dialogue with a number of different people who represent different private nursing organizations, nursing home organizations who would come in. So we are looking at this issue. We want to continue to deliver the service. We've actually formed an advisory board of the families over the last few years. That was formed when I was the director. That advisory board will be part of the solution that we develop to deliver a nursing home to the people of Morris County. These are people who have paid into the system for years, and we've got to find a way to deliver that to them, and we'll do it wisely, we'll do it cost effectively, and this budget does accommodate the nursing home without the funding that we're going to be getting from the state, which is taken away from via the federal government. Via the state.
Thank you. Mr. Hirniak.
You know, folks, the concept of a sale, whether we're talking about Morrisview, your automobile, your home, your child's bicycle, only works if you have a willing buyer that's going to offer you a price that makes sense. Whether it's par, less than par, we don't have a willing buyer right now. There is nobody clamoring, beating on the doors, saying we want to buy Morrisview. But there's a more important aspect here at play, and I congratulate John for bringing this up, because he certainly heard me mention it when we were in Montville a few weeks back. The cost of private assisted living and independent living facilities here in the United States is very high. So high that it is outside the budget of many of our residents. And those residents have approached me, whether they be from Randolph or other corners of this county, and passionately and adamantly said we need to maintain Morrisview as an option for those individuals that can't afford private care. I'm very sensitive to that, and I happen to agree with that.
Mr. Valori.
Yes. Morally and ethically, we have an obligation to take care of our elderly, especially the ones that are in really dire need. And going back to earlier, this comes down to strategic planning. My opinion is that there was not a lot of strategic planning being done in regards to getting into the mess that we're in right now. My colleague, like he had said, Peter King, he went on a tour of that facility, and you have many wings that are vacant, beds that are not being used. So my point is, what was being done 3 years out, 5 years out, knowing that this president, who's made a mess of this country, President Obama, with Obamacare, what vision was being done to make sure that we'll fill those shortfalls? But at the same time, it's like, you know, they're talking about economic growth. Okay, take care of one of your utilities, one of your infrastructures. So to me, a lot of this mess could have been taken care of if there was really proper planning and strategic a vision to make sure that this wouldn't occur. So this is on the the back of the taxpayers.
Thank you, Mr. Valori. Mr. Cabana.
There will always be a Morris view for the residents of Morris County. We are one of 4 counties remaining that still maintain our nursing home facility. There are several options we have, as my colleague Freeholder Mastrangelo discussed, either an outright sale, a lease, or a lease back with management. And those are the things we're studying. By the end of the year, there will be a definitive decision on the future of Morris View. It's a restructuring. It's a restructuring that we need to do unless this board is going to, or any future board, accept huge increases in the budget in the millions of dollars per year. You know, on one end you're hearing, oh, you know, let's not raise anything, let's go zero. On the other hand, whether let's cut, well, you're going to have to do something. You cannot allow or continue Morris View as it is right now. I mean, and respectfully, someone who took a tour of the building and then passes judgment and then claims it to be a mess is just irresponsible.
Thank you, Mr. Cabana. Mr. DeFillippo?
I almost want to laugh out loud. I'm sorry, but we've been living this for years, Morris View. We intimately know the value of Morris View and that it will stay in Morris County for our residents. To suggest that we have not done our homework is a joke. We have visited nursing homes. We have interviewed a number of different partners to come into Morris View. We're up against the fact that there are many office spaces we've already talked about that are empty. So if you're going to look at square footage and you look at the Morris View, they're going to go to an office building. But we also have to find the right fit that goes into that 3rd floor. And we're going to be very careful about that because it is our elderly residents living in Morris View. So the empty space he's talking about is the 3rd floor, and it's not pristine space. But we have to be very careful about who it is we bring to Morris View. We can't go and give you a detailed list because it's been a closed discussion. We can't confirm, but I do have to laugh, that if someone here thinks we can't, that we don't have people knocking on the door. I promise you, there are many businesses and entities out there that know the value of Morris View and love to get their hands on it.
Thank you.
It's not for sale.
Rebuttal starting with Mr. Krickus.
I'll pass.
Thank you.
You heard it, that they've known about the problem with Morris View for many, many years, yet there's no solution. It's not just the 3rd floor that's empty, and I think you should take a tour, because then you would notice that there are 3 other floors on the first, there's 2 other wings on the 1st floor that are empty, and one to the far left. When I suggested to Mr. Benani about renting that to senior care, he said that's a great idea. No one said that. So you may want to talk to your administrator as well as the ideas that have been given. Thank you.
Mr. Mastrangelo.
Yes, and Peter, I have to correct you. We do have senior care. We have daycare at Morris View, and you should visit that wing on your next visit, and you'll see it in action. Morris View, and we have committed to this. We will have and continue with Morris View in some form or fashion. The family committee that we put together under my directorship will be part of that decision, and we will continue to take care of our elderly, besides taking care of all the people here in Morris County. And look, I'm going to go back to taxes. Okay?
All right.
Mr. Hirniak.
The situation with Morris View did not happen overnight. We didn't wake up this morning and say, my goodness, what happened to Morris View? This has been going on for quite some time. The problem is, as with a lot of things, the can keeps getting kicked down the road. Let somebody else deal with it. Let a successive freeholder board deal with it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the 3 of us, Lou, Peter, and myself, are ready to deal with it. We're ready to tackle the issue. We're ready to address the concerns of the citizens who need it. And we're ready to address the economic aspects of this problem.
Thank you, Mr. Valori.
Yes, like I said earlier, when you're in an elected position, there's this word leadership. And when you're in that position, you have to act like a leader. And this problem has been going on for several years. So I'm not really hearing any true solutions of what they try to do to correct the mess that Morris View is in right now. Concerning, one of the other freeholders had mentioned that they had problems in the past with doing their strategic budgeting. Well, if they were doing their strategic budgeting properly, this mess over at the nursing home wouldn't be going on. So again, it takes leadership, making those tough decisions, and having to live by that and not creating excuses.
Thank you, Mr. Valori. Mr. Cabana.
It was last year when the Morris View study was begun. We received the results of the study for our discussion in February. It's not as though we're doing nothing. We are studying this thing. It's only fair to the families of the residents that live there that they participate in this process. And it is not something that can be done overnight. The residents have a fear that the facility is going to be closed, their fear of change, and these are our elderly, our less fortunate. We need to take small steps since this report was done to ensure that these residents are given the time to review the options and have some peace of mind.
Thank you, Mr. Cabana. DeFillippo?
I just want to repeat, Morris View is not up for sale. We find it to be a jewel. We're very proud of it. We want to protect our citizens here, but we also want open dialogue with our residents because they come to expect that they will have Morris View for themselves or a family member in the future, and we respect that.
Thank you. Question 4, going to Mr. King. In the last election, there was a pretty hot discussion on the influence of certain unions in Morris County and how folks of out-of-county people and other groups have attempted to make some inroads as it relates to Morris County politically. So with that lead-in, have you met with construction unions? If yes, what was discussed, with who, and did you make any commitments to them on any issues?
Yes, we've met with a lot of groups. One of them has been a construction group. We've met with religious leaders in the county. We've met with small businesses, and we've met with actually big business. We've met with everyone, and the purpose of that was to bring in economic development. Issues with regard to the program that is known as the apprentice program was brought up. We advised them that we could not support that because what it did was it took away municipalities, and in this instance the county's right to negotiate with smaller businesses that didn't have that. It took them off the table, so it created and conflicted with the contracts law, which wants as many people at the table so that you can have a proper pick. So did we meet with them? Absolutely. We discussed also programs. Lou and I are veterans. They have a great program called Hard Hats to Helmets. We spoke about that, but we did not commit. In fact, we said no, and we have put it on the record that we are not in favor of a resolution that would restrict competitive bidding in this county.
Thank you, Mr. Mastrangelo.
Yes, excuse me. Yes, we've met with a number of groups, including labor, and we've discussed everything from the apprenticeship program to E9 Verify to OSHA safety standards on any type of county job, perhaps, to see, at least to explore that. As you mentioned, became a hot issue last year in the election, a very hot issue actually, where we believed we needed to explore it, understand it, see what the benefits of it were, see what the negatives of it were. But I will say this, the Morris County VOTEC has an apprenticeship program that is funded by the freeholders, has been funded by the freeholders for years. And that's an alternate route for kids and people who are coming back for a second career who do not want to go to college. And labor does teach those courses. And that's something that I think is a good thing to fund. so people can have a career in labor or in a trade. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mastrangelo. Mr. Hirniak.
Yes, thank you. As an elected official and somebody running for office, I believe it's my obligation to meet with whoever wants to meet with me and my running mates. And we have a discussion. They either like what I have to say and they support us, or they don't like what I have to say and they don't support us. The Carpenters Union does not support us. They support the incumbents. And you see what that has led to. It's a hot issue again this year. The quid pro quo, this apprenticeship program. Ladies and gentlemen, we are Republicans, and I will tell you that no matter which 4 points of the compass of this county you visit, the apprenticeship program is identified as something that will destroy business, and it is reviled by Republicans. The Carpenters didn't like our message. They didn't support us. They supported the incumbents. There's a quid pro quo now. That will not be good for Morris County.
Thank you, Mr. Hirniak. Mr. Valori.
Yes, like my running mate had stated earlier, we did meet with organizations such as the NJEA, different local police departments, which are unions, religious groups. When we met with the Carpenters Union, we were not pleased with what they were telling us. The reality is, it restricts competitive bidding. It really hurts the small business person. And what I find interesting is that the Freeholder Board had put up a resolution for this apprentice program, but decided to table it. So interesting that this resolution for the apprentice program hasn't been voted on to put up in front of the Morris County voters, the taxpayers. And in regards to labor teaching at the Vote Tech, I find that kind of comical that we're using the labor union individuals to teach this. What is it? They're going to teach them about the apprentice program at the Vote Tech? And in regards to my running mate stated earlier, quid pro quo. There's quid pro quo in that, and it did occur. And again, be a leader and take ownership of what you decide to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Valori. Mr. Cabana.
Yes. We did meet with many groups, including the Carpenters. But I guess what I find most disturbing this evening is that at their meeting with the Carpenters Union, they did in fact pledge their support of the apprentice program. Mr. Hirniak stated that they had a similar program in Randolph Township. Mr. Valori was promoting an apprentice program in Parsippany. And this was confirmed to me last night by a phone call from one of the individuals at the meeting that was there. So to get up before this crowd and make statements like that, knowing that we can then talk to the people at the meeting and contradict what they say, is just disingenuous.
You'll get your chance to speak. We have to go down. Ms. DeFillippo.
Yes, we've spoken to unions. We've spoken to clergy. We speak to businesses, rail operators. We speak to a lot of people. Anybody who wants to talk with me, I'm going to talk with them. No promises were made. And I have this whole thing that we brought a resolution to the table. What I did, and I take blame for this, is as a result of last year's election, when John Cesaro and his team met with the trades and had a resolution for the apprenticeship program, I got a sample of it, brought it to our county council a few months ago, and said, hey, take a look at this. When he was done looking at it and marking it up, I said, don't just give it to me. I said, just send it to the full board for an FYI with an attachment that says this is not going on the agenda. It never went on the agenda. It was for informational purposes. If any of the freeholders wanted to pursue it, we would have put it on our agenda. It didn't get there. But our opponents are saying, we have this backdoor deal. Now, I'm going to add one more thing, and I know you said stop, but I don't think there's anything wrong with someone going through an apprenticeship program. It's a way for someone to get a job who may not be able to go to college at that point.
We've been generous. Mr. Krickus.
So, my invitation must have got lost in the mail, because I never met with the Carpenters Union or any other unions. And there is a huge cost. Governor Christie vetoed it. There's 30% extra cost to the program. Your own county staff issued a memo, which I don't believe the current freeholders who put this forward for discussion even knew about or looked at. It cost $1.5 million. So we all know what's going on here. Look, it's tough raising money as a campaign, in a campaign. Last year, when I saw the first check come, $24,600 for one union, that was more than I had raised my campaign to that point. So we see big campaign contributions coming in. We see the political director of the Carpenters Union appointed by these board members by a 5-2 vote to the planning board. I will not spend one extra dime of county council's time. We will not have this extra cost. This is how you have zero tax increase. Don't put extra costs into county government. The apprenticeship resolution will be dead with my election. Thank you.
Mr. King, your rebuttal.
You know, as has been said here, once the governor vetoed that bill, there was no enabling legislation for it. So I find it difficult that we would have agreed to something that legally you couldn't do, and we did not agree to the apprenticeship program. I agree with Mr. Krickus that it's going to cost the county a lot of money. The unions already get 92% of the contracts out of Morris County anyhow. In any event, my running mates, Mr. Hirniak, Mr. Valori, and myself, we will vote no. We've said that time and time again. We will vote no on any apprenticeship program. Thank you.
Mr.
Okay.
Mastrangelo.
Let's just clear this up. There is no resolution for apprenticeship program, and they want to keep talking about it, and if they want to keep talking about it, that's fine, because they don't want to talk about taxes, how they raise taxes in their own towns, how he raised taxes on the Board of Education, increasing those budgets over $10 million over the years. Okay, so February 24th, here's the picture. John Cesaro walks in, Lou Valori, Roman Hirniak, Peter King into Edison to meet with Troy Singleton, who you know, Moderator, and with Dan Christie, who's a freeholder down in Gloucester County.
Finish your sentence.
Okay, so with that.
No, there is no so.
Oh, okay.
And I don't mean to interrupt, but we have to stay somewhere close.
Okay.
Mr. Hirniak, your response.
I find it difficult to understand how people who were not present at a conversation are offering comments this evening on the substance of it. I find that difficult. What I find ironic is that the message that those people are delivering are being shared with them by folks who do not support my running mates and myself. The Carpenters don't support us, ladies and gentlemen. They support the incumbents. They do that for a reason. It's because the incumbents have promised to deliver an apprenticeship program that the three of us have vehemently stated we will not support. And we have nothing like that in Randolph. It never will.
Mr. Valori, I know you're waiting.
Yes. What I find interesting, what Mr. Cabana said earlier, this is the guy who's been a prosecutor to uphold the law and a judge. Obviously, he spoke with these union members in great detail. Is that what you want on the board? They went the next step further. They put up a resolution that contradicts state law, okay? But they knew they were being looked at by many other representatives in the county, and they didn't want to try to pass it where they have enough votes right now. So needless to say, when you go to the next step and then you put one of those union members who's a Democrat on your planning board for the county, you tell me there's not quid pro quo, and that's what you want represented in our county? I don't think so. So needless to say, you should have brought those union members with you tonight to discuss it with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Cabana.
You want to know why the Carpenters Union endorsed us? Because we support economic development. These are private sector units. And these unions with private sector share many of the Republican ideals of economic development, fair trade, free market. They're looking for jobs for their members. These people live in Morris County, they work in Morris County, and they support Morris County, and that's why they supported us.
Ms. DeFillippo.
The apprenticeship program, as you all know, New Jersey is a prevailing wage. It means everybody gets paid the same. If you're in an apprenticeship, then it's a reduced rate, so there is a savings there. Research of the jobs that with the contracts that we have had through the county have been, majority of them are unions. So I'm not sure what we're arguing about here. There is we have members of our community in Morris County who are members of unions. They are Republicans and they do want to work. I'm not looking to stop somebody else and make it less competitive, but I don't see why apprenticeship or giving somebody a job because they went through an apprenticeship program is a sin.
Thank you, Ms. DeFillippo. Mr. Krickus, perhaps you can answer that question.
Well, let me start by the reason why the unions, you're right, a lot of contracts are awarded to unions, but they have to compete. They have to compete against other businesses. This apprenticeship resolution would totally change that. You would have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to have one. So under less competition, costs go up. Since when do we as Republicans start a campaign by meeting with the political director of the Carpenters Union, and Troy Singleton, a Democratic Assemblyman? And really, this is an interesting new take on economic development. I've heard states and counties say, we have low taxes, we have a wonderful way of life, but what's new now is, and you're going to love our labor unions. I haven't really heard of that one. Now we're
Thank you, Mr. Krickus. Well, the next question was on the similar topic. So the moderator is going to have to make an adjustment a little bit, because I think you have handled pretty much the question that was going to come forth to you, reflecting the county memo that was not recommending this policy, and I think you've all been pretty clear. So what I'm going to do with this question is I'm going to kind of take something from the Republican debates and say, we have 7 people up here tonight, we've heard your opinions. Raise your hand if you pledge you will not vote for a required apprentice program for Morris County. You will not vote for anything that changes existing prevailing wage for smaller contracts, perhaps, again diminishing the ability for small businesses.
Yes.
Raise your hand.
You will not vote for it.
You will not. You're raising your hand if you will not. You pledge not to vote for that potential piece of legislation.
We will not vote. We will not vote for it.
You have to answer what the resolution is.
Can I
This is,
I'll
just raise my hand. But,
I'll explain it again. No, I want you to be clear.
I'll raise my
I need
hand.
to raise my hand again?
What? We only have one moderator. The question again, if you were unclear, is pledging that you will not, to the taxpayers of Morris County, support a resolution that would require an apprentice program in order to participate in public works projects. Is that clear?
That's clear.
The second part of the question was dealing with prevailing wage. For example, something that would change the contract limits lower, for example, that would or could potentially remove smaller contractors from their ability to bid. Is that clear to all 7 of you?
Yes.
Yes.
Now that it is, raise your hands if you oppose. I see everybody raising their hand. Just want to be clear for everybody in the audience.
But I'd like to clarify something, moderator.
No,
I really do.
Since I invented the question, I will give you all.
No, you should. You and I have been over this
Wait a
question.
second.
Because that's a very open.
Wait, just stop for a second. There's one moderator. Yes, I'll give you, since you took the question away, just 1 minute to speak on that. No rebuttal, 1 minute. Starting with, we'll stay with the same person, so it would be you, Mr. King.
Talking about the resolution voting against.
If you have anything to say, obviously, Mr.
I mean, the
Mastrangelo,
resolution as presented conflicts with the law. It constricts competition. It will cost the county and the taxpayers money. There is no need for it. The idea of the apprenticeship program is great if a private company wants to do it, if the union wants to do it, but it has no place or purpose with regard to someone's ability to do the job. It has no need. The apprenticeship program, a lot of people don't understand it. There's about 700 some odd jobs that have apprenticeship programs. They vary from 5 years to 3 years. You get 2 certificates, one from the state, one from the federal government, and then they're portable. So you could work for a union for 5 years, get that, and then go to a private company that does not have a apprenticeship program, and that company would be prevented from doing the job. It makes no sense. Thank you.
Mr. Mastrangelo, you wanted to comment?
Yes, Number one, I want to clear one thing up. We fund an apprenticeship program today to the VOTEC, and Mr. Valori is not aware of that. Barbara Dawson sits on the board, and she's shaking her head yes, so you should spend a little time with Barbara after the debate, and she'll educate you on that.
I will.
Okay? No, you should, because you said something that, you know, that wasn't true. Okay? In regards to the resolution on apprenticeship, okay, I would have to say, and I'm a small business. I'm a small business, okay? I would have to see a resolution, okay, if there was such a resolution, hypothetically, because you're asking a hypothetical, that would protect small business, both union, non-union, contribute to economic development, and work for everybody, okay, on both sides of the coin. So if there was such a resolution that did that, then it's something that we would look at and we would consider.
If it included an apprentice program, because then I'm going to have to pull your hair down. Hand down has to come down. I'll give you a second. No, I'll give you a second.
If the program protected small business, medium-sized business, union, non-union, okay, then I said it's something that we would have to look at, just like we looked at this last one, and we did nothing with it. We're not ruling on that.
So for clarification for everybody in the room, that under certain circumstances you might vote for an apprentice program.
I didn't say that. I would have to see it, and a board would have to then look at it, review it, okay? And yeah, I'm just trying to be objective here. I can say, I'll never vote for anything again. I'm going to take the apprenticeship program away from the VOTEC, and we're not going to fund anything with unions. We're going to tell our 9,000 people who live here in the county that we want nothing to do with them, okay, and you know, good Republicans, okay. So I think when something's put in front of you, you honestly have to look at it to see, is there a benefit, is there not a benefit, and if there is no benefit, then you get public input, okay?
I think we understand, thank you. Anyone else, Mr. Hirniak?
This is not a complicated issue. And any elected official that suggests to a voter that it is a complicated issue is being disingenuous. The apprenticeship program, as it's been contemplated, will stifle and largely eliminate the concept of competitive bidding. It will take out of the mix businesses that employ our citizenry here in Morris County and pay taxes. Why would we ever consider supporting something like that? The three of us have, at every turn, clearly said we do not. Our opponents have either danced around the issue or said that they will. As I said at the top, there are things you're going to hear about from us, rather, where we're similar. However, there are things that you're going to hear from us this evening where we're different. This happens to be one.
Mr. Valori, anything to add?
Yes, I'd like to elaborate on that just a little bit. The law clearly states that this contradicts the resolution that they put up front. And you have these individuals here that are highly educated, and they sat down with these unions, and they were getting a deal of a lifetime to probably get unlimited funds sent to them for this campaign. So the reality is, they got caught. They control the Freeholder board. They went to the next step and put a resolution together. Now they're tap dancing all over the place in regards to this. Be a leader and live by your convictions. You went there, you obviously went forward and put a resolution to justify their needs. You took their money, and not only on top of that is that you appointed the gentleman from the Carpenters Union, right? It's like, you know, the Fox Garden, the hen house, now was on our planning board. So you don't think that's quid pro quo? So live with your mistakes. And the only reason why this came out is because the Tea Party at Montville brought a lot of undue attention to you freeholders. So live with your decision.
Mr. Cabana, any further comments?
If our opponents are advocating this as something illegal, then why are we even discussing it if that's the case? And you know, it's a shame also that this is not on the agenda. It's something that's been put on the side, yet we're spending so much time discussing an issue that's going nowhere when we have issues that we should be discussing, like the jail and the impact that that's going to have on taxes because of these 20 to 30% increased contracts that the sheriff has negotiated. And the fact that we have litigation pending for an 18% increased contract. These are the things I believe that you need to hear about, not about the apprenticeship program. Let's talk some substance. And I know that this debate was going to 9 and it's already 9:05, so we don't have a lot of time to sit and discuss these other issues, and that's a shame that they weren't addressed tonight.
Any further comments? Ms. DeFillippo?
Ditto. I think that there's a lot of valuable information that we should be sharing with the residents sitting here tonight, instead of going over something that was never put out as a resolution to be considered. I'm sitting here with 4 attorneys. Have any of you ever looked at a contract and signed it? Like, that's it? Oh, looked at it, read it, and signed it? No. Every contract you look at, you pick it apart. Same thing with a resolution with the board. We do our homework, and many resolutions never get forward. This was a resolution that was to be considered. There are many of them out there. The one that I believe we presented, I gave to the county council, was one that actually had gone through and had gotten some success from other counties, similar to Morris County. That's not to say it was perfect. I think after 11 years serving Morris County, I know my residents, and I know what's going to work with my residents and what's not. So this was just a sample resolution that went out there. It was never on our agenda. It was politically motivated by a freeholder to send it out to the Tea Party.
Thank you, Ms. DeFillippo. Mr. Krickus.
So, breaking news. There has been a vote on the apprenticeship resolution. I presented last year a resolution to maintain county policy and to reject the apprenticeship resolution. That vote failed 3-4. Freeholder Scapicchio, myself, and Lyon voted to maintain county policy. The 3 incumbents here joined one other freeholder to reject that. So there has been a vote on the apprenticeship resolution. They voted not to exclude it. They also voted by 5-2 to appoint the political director of the Carpenters Union. I'm amazed I'm in a Republican debate saying this. We're talking about Republicans who appoint the political director of the Carpenters Union to the planning board. And by the way, he came to our meeting, I listened to the recordings, he came to our meeting in end of February to say he's a Republican who has supported Republicans. He changed his voter registration to Republican on February 16th, 2016. So that's the type of really disingenuous behavior we're seeing from our freeholders. This will change Morris County forever if it's allowed to proceed. Thank you.
I think at this point we've had a good debate on that. I think we're done. Did you get a comment?
No.
30 seconds.
Okay.
I want to get the closing comments to get to the... Okay. You can't fit. So with that said, let us move to closing comments. At this point, we will reverse and come to this end of the table. Closing comments, again, to remind you, are 90 seconds. I'm sure everyone's going to be leaving right after or headed to the bar after your closing comments. I go with the bar. I'd like to thank you all for your respect and quality answers and a good-spirited debate. We wish you all good luck, and start Mr. Valori.
Yes, thank you again for having me here tonight. It was truly an honor, and I'm hoping that I can rely on your vote along with my running mates, Mayor Roman Hirniak and Peter King, for this freeholder position on June 7th. I believe that we will be truly a breath of fresh air for Morris County politics, and I believe that our leadership backgrounds, our education, our work experience will be diversified enough to make great changes for the county. And again, I believe that our leadership and integrity will be an asset for what is needed in Morris County. And just to end, there's a lot of major issues going on in Morris County that have to be addressed. You have $30 million in solar program that the taxpayers are paying for. You have issues going outside your 2% cap, your 2% budget, and going into your cap bank. You have issues on the nursing home that have to be addressed. You have issues that when, in the past, they didn't mention anything about the county park police that would have cost the taxpayers millions of dollars and create a huge bureaucracy. There's other issues that have to be addressed with the county jail. The mess that was created in the county jail, we the taxpayers are paying for. These are a lot of other issues that need to be addressed, but unfortunately we don't have enough time. Hopefully we'll see some of you individuals at the other debates to coming up. So some of the issues that were discussed tonight in regards to the apprentice program, that is a mess, and that's the mess they created on their watch. So needless to say, I'm hoping that you can count on myself, Mayor Roman Hirniak, and Peter King on June 7th. Our ballot positions 12, 13, and 14. And thank you, and God bless.
Thank you.
I would like to extend my congratulations and gratitude to our moderator, the clubs who have sponsored this evening's debate, and most importantly, the audience. Ladies and gentlemen, the questions that were presented to us so that you could hear our thoughts and our vision have overshadowed every debate and candidates night that we've had thus far. And they will certainly be the fruit of the candidates nights and the debates that are still left before June 7th. These are things that folks here in the county are nervous about. They're tired about. They want to change. And as I said at the top of my remarks, we have done our homework. We have gone out and solicited the opinion of these individuals who are raising these questions, debate after debate, night after night. And we've modeled our campaign on addressing those issues and addressing the three major problems that we have here in the county. Lack of professional stewardship, lack of fiscal responsibility that's responsible, and lack of consensus building, where we work as a team. We've identified those problems, and more importantly, we've identified solutions to fix those problems. On June 7th, when you enter the voting booth, I would ask you to consider tapping the numbers next to our names. Those numbers are 12, 13, and 14. And together, we can unite Morris County and bring it back to what it once was. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. Once again, I've got to thank each and every one of you for giving us a few minutes tonight to talk about our records. You heard about our records. 3 years consecutive 0% tax increases, reducing the debt, doubling the county roads, and maintaining all the infrastructure. And I tell you, you want to talk about dancing. I don't know who was Gene Kelly. I don't know who's Fred Astaire. And all I can tell you is they have not talked about their records. The mayor from Hirniak, the mayor from Randolph has not talked about his tax raising, 13% in 4 years, the highest second tax rate, and you all got the handout, okay? The second highest tax rate in the county, and they're facing a reevaluation that was put off to 2017, and he's looking to get out of Dodge. Lou Valori hasn't talked about the millions of dollars that he increased taxes when he was on the Board of Ed and when he was on the Parsippany Town Council. He's not talking about how he endorsed a Democratic mayor who became the mayor and extended the tenure of Democratic rule in Parsippany to 18 years. And we've got the endorsement letters right here. I can show anybody after the election. You can see the endorsement letters from Mr. Valori, okay? We're proud of our record. I'm running because I'm proud of the record. I'm proud of running with Kathy and Doug because we've delivered good government. And we have the endorsement of 29 Republican mayors and council. We've got over 100 endorsements, not empty endorsements, endorsements for the unity that we've got with everybody for the good fiscal policies that we've delivered to Morris County. This actually, it was disingenuous. They are dancing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mastrangelo.
I want to thank you all again for your time. You've seen a difference here. You've seen a difference of two groups. You've seen one group who's embraced the Carpenters Union. This is a union that gives heavily to Hillary Clinton and the Democratic Party. You see another group who raised their hand proudly and has said time and time again that we will not support any type of resolution or any type of anything that would lessen this county's ability to get qualified contractors to perform the work at the lowest rate. We will not support any type of apprenticeship program. The apprenticeship program that you have in the county is one for kids in high school that work there. They get the certifications and they can go to different types of businesses. In fact, in Mr. Mastrangelo's business, there are 3 apprenticeship programs for IT people. If that resolution was passed,
Excuse me, I don't have IT apprenticeship programs in my business.
And I understand, and that's my point. You could not actually go out and bid at the county for a job that was over $250,000 if that resolution was passed. With regard to the solar project, no one's talked about that, $30 million. Why wasn't there an investigation into that? There has to be an investigation into that. We will do that. With regard to the insurance, I told you a way that we could save money today. That has not been done. We have to look at that and other ways to maintain grade rules coming into this county and reduce the cost of government. Thank you.
Well, I want to thank you all for coming out and attending tonight. And I think you understand why I'm running. To give you a conservative choice. 0 tax increases, streamlined county government, and no unnecessary regulations like the apprenticeship program. But I want you to know why I'm serving. You know, when I was 18, I had a very special moment. Probably the best title I ever got in my life. It was at the end of boot camp in Parris Island, and they let you do something very special once you've gotten through. You get to put the Eagle, Globe, and Anchor into your garrison cap and put it on your head. You're now a Marine. Best title, next to Dad, best title I've ever had in my life. It's been a privilege to serve as a mayor, a commitment, and as a freeholder. But the reason I'm serving is because I believe in individual liberty, free markets, smaller government, Republican values. And that's why I'm serving. I never took the health benefits, and you might call me a zero dipper, because I never signed up for the pension. So I ask for your support on June 7th. It'll be easy to find me. I'm at the top of the ticket, and Peter always loves this line. I'm not greedy. You have 3 votes. I'm only asking for 1. Top of the ballot, John Krickus, Conservative Republican. Thank you very much.
3 of our opponents tonight told you all the things we're doing wrong. They've never been to a freeholder meeting. Never been to a freeholder meeting. One of them took a tour of Morris View, and he thinks he's got all the answers. I want to laugh out loud. We have introduced 0% increases. We are not this year. It's going to cost the taxpayer $15 to $20 this year for an increase. So over 4 years, your taxes are going up somewhere between $15 and $20. It's the prudent thing to do because we have to keep the government running. We have to continue to provide the services that this county expects. I have an opponent who doesn't want to see churches get historic funding for old church, I'm sorry.
Restoration.
For historic preservation, forgive me. I have an opponent here who said last year, when we talked about we needed to increase in human services, entry-level jobs, to help people get their applications filled out, who are waiting online to get their Medicaid, Medicare, food stamps, to get services. He said, let them stand online. These are our county residents. If you apply and you're eligible, that's the law, you get your benefits. But to say they can stand online for months on end, what do we do? Are we going to turn our back on the people who need housing, who need food stamps, who need help? I'm not going to make those cuts. I'm going to protect Morris View, and I'm not going to make cuts that are going to hurt our residents.
What we saw tonight is there is a difference between those running. We have Tom, Kathy, and I who present ourselves as the responsible conservatives. We have our opponents on the Valori team who have just told you what was wrong with Morris County, not that it's the best run county, but have not offered any solution whatsoever, except that they can do better. And then we have Mr. Krickus, who wants 0 increase ad infinitum, which is great. But if you do, where are you going to cut? Because you can't continue to have additional employees. You can't continue going forward with 0 without cuts. So I present to you that our team are the ones that can give you the value for your dollar to continue good government that Morris County is known for around this state. We can continue that with the fiscal conservative policies of Tom, Kathy, and I. Thank you.
Let me close by thanking the candidates for a spirited debate. Let me thank the ownership and proprietorship of this beautiful facility for opening their doors and giving us a very favorable rate so we could bring you to a beautiful venue. Let me thank the Republican clubs of Chester, Long Valley, and Mount Olive for their efforts and participation. Thank you all. Thank you, the most important part, the folks that have listened to our candidates and are now going to be able to make public policy decisions with an educated. Thank you so much. Oh, and thank you to the timekeeper.
Thank you.
Appreciate you being patient.
No, I did a great job.